Hello and welcome to this edition of City Corner. We're excited to have you. On today's show, we've got two powerhouse organizations that are transforming our community, one garden, one initiative at a time. Stay tuned, we'll have more in just a moment. Welcome to this edition of City Corner. I'm your host, Sonji Young. We're delighted to have you. You know, if you are like me, I'm always perusing and driving through North St. Louis City and County. But if you've ever driven the West Florissant corridor, you've probably started to see an emergence of amazing transformation happening in this corridor. And that today I am joined by that organization that is leading the initiative, Uhuru Movement, also known as the Uhuru Bakery Cafe, coming to our community. I'm joined by Bakari, help me, Olatunji, I got it, and Jainabah, Lumumba from the Uhuru Movement. Welcome, you all.
Thank you for having us.
It's good to have you. You all have such a positive energy. When I walked in the room, I felt it, and I got even more excited to know now that we've got a bakery and cafe in the community. So before we get too far into the bakery and cafe, I want to focus on this name, Uhuru, because it commands attention. It commands really an understanding of what it means to have this movement present in our community. Can you talk a little bit more about the Uhuru movement and what it means to North St. Louis?
Yes, the word Uhuru is a Swahili word, and it simply means freedom.
Wow.
And it is something African people have not known for the last 500 years, and we are continually struggling for it. So the Uhuru movement represents the struggle for self-determination, to take power back in our own hands, because prior to the attack on Africa by Europeans, we had self-determination. We had our own ability to feed, house, and clothe ourselves. And that is the mission, is to get back to becoming a self-determined people once again. So we use the word Uhuru when you call our offices. That's what you will hear us say. Yes. When we leave each other, in terms of greeting and leaving, we will say Uhuru. So it is not something we use as an empty slogan, but as a word to remind us of what our end game is.
Thank you. And Bakari, I think one of the things that you said that meant so much is around, you know, freedom is not just this empty statement. It's something that everyone is pursuing on a day-to-day basis. And part of that freedom is being able to have access to healthy food, safe communities. And that's something that you all are doing. Jainabah, can you talk a little bit about, as I drive down that West Florissant corridor, what are all those things that I see that you all have invested so much volunteerism and time to build?
Yes, what you're seeing is the legacy of Chairman Amalia Shatella and Deputy Chair Ona Zenea Shatella. They have been working in this movement for over 50 years, and they've dedicated their lives to empowering our communities. And so what you're seeing is the St. Louis iteration of all of the incredible work that started in St. Petersburg, Florida, moved to Oakland, California, Philadelphia, and now here we are.
I don't know if folks, if you've never been down West Florissant, I told you all the story of how I started to slowly discover this amazing development and investment in the community that you all have made. And I remember walking or driving down the street, and I saw one day, I said, oh, there's a basketball court. Where did that come from all of a sudden? Then I drove down another day and I saw the garden, right? Another day I saw the beautiful amphitheater. And it's just one investment of time and thoughtfulness that you all have made that is really bringing a new energy to the community. So let's talk about the newest addition to the Uhuru movement and community, and that is the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe. I know that it is now settled in the community, people are checking it out, but talk to me about what was the thought and the concept behind starting a bakery and cafe, especially in North St. Louis.
Well, particularly in North St. Louis, where people are considered a food desert.
Right.
We consider it a power desert.
Yes.
So this bakery represents more than just a place to come eat. And we have delicious foods we'll talk about. But, you know, we wanted to bring economic development to the community. We wanted to be able to hire people who live in the community. we wanted to bring economic development to the north side
Right.
of St. Louis,
Right.
which we can drive around the city and see many abandoned buildings.
Right.
And, so what we're doing is revitalizing that corridor right there. Some people even call it the Uhuru District.
Yes.
We provided employment for, we have just hired a new baker
Oh,
and a
wow.
new chef, both young Africans from the community. And I've actually met both of them. They're outstanding
That's awesome.
forces. And, and the food is outstanding. We brought some with us. We'll talk about that. But, it's part of an initiative we have like our farm down the street that's
Yes.
connected with the bakery. It's all part of our Black Power Blueprint initiative there,
Got it.
where we have farm to table. Where we have Shambhala Uhuru Farm down the street, where we grow the food. And then we have the Bakery Cafe that is now available to the community.
Awesome.
3719 West Florissant Avenue.
That's right.
Right there on the corner of John. So we want people to come on through. And also we have a One Africa, One Nation farmers market.
Okay.
First Saturday of every month from, I do believe, May to October. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But we just had one this past Saturday, and we have one next Saturday, which
Okay.
will be in September, next September.
Okay.
And that is farm to table. And we are just moving, and we get a lot of support from the community. And we want to gather more support, because this is the people's garden. This is the
Awesome.
people's bakery. It's the people's farmers market. So we really want people to become more involved. We have great volunteer opportunities, employment opportunities, and it is just so much more to talk about.
Awesome. Jainabah, help me, because I am enticed by the delicacies that you all have brought to show. And these, correct me if I'm wrong, these are items that we can actually purchase as community members if we obviously patronize the Uhuru Bakery Cafe. Tell me a little bit more about what goes in, who's making this, and what is all the time and effort that is, that it takes to really build this type of advanced, products.
Well, it's all made by the people, and we have our volunteers and we have our employees who work in the bakery. Right here we have our sweet potato pie, just a small sampler. Yes, got to keep it classic.
My favorite.
We also have an apple crumble pie, and we've brought our bourbon pecan chocolate pie. And so this is just the start. This is just the tip of the iceberg, if you will. And we also provide delicious and healthy juices. So what you're seeing is things that are staples within the community, and things that are healthy and will benefit our community and our children.
And I also noticed that you have beverages as well. So I think you mentioned that those are Jamaica and ginger beer, non-alcoholic, of course.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, these are fresh made, and the hibiscus tea. One thing, we're having a heat wave, it
Yes.
seems, and hibiscus as an herb is a cooling herb. So
Wow.
all of these things are intended to benefit, not just the individual, but the community as well.
That's awesome. I think one of the things that you all have inspired me to do is to slow down. And I believe more of our community needs to slow down and take notice that there are things changing for the better. And you all are doing that one investment, one initiative at a time. If I were to volunteer, what types of things could I volunteer to support you, or our community members could volunteer to support you all in doing?
Well, we have, again, our primary initiative is a Black Power Blueprint.
Okay.
We have a community center. We have meetings every Sunday. People can come and get more information. We have a garden across the street from there, the
Yes.
Gary Brooks Community Garden
Gary
that you had
Brooks,
mentioned.
yes.
And with that, in that same area, we have the what we call amphitheater, is what you said.
Yes, that's what I thought
it is
it was.
our event space,
Yes.
outdoor with a stage. And then down the street, we have what we call our African Independence Workforce Program, where people who come out of prisons can transition into a place to stay and get trained within culinary arts or gardening or other aspects of work that we have.
Awesome.
And we have, of course, the Shambhala, not garden, but farm down the street.
Got it.
And then Uhuru Bakery. And we have other things that are coming down the line, but people can volunteer to carve out a place in any of these initiatives.
Okay.
You know, we have a program called Into You, and it's a volunteer program, and we get people to do a lot of great things in the community. So yes, there are a lot of community opportunities.
Awesome. As we get ready to wrap up, you know, there's a feeling of energy when you drive down West Florissant now. What do you all experience when you see the impact that you're making? Jainabah, especially you, like, what are you seeing? Because you have, both of you all have seen how this movement has transformed across the country, but now as it's taking root in St. Louis, what is the energy that you feel is being emitted into the community?
I consider it revolutionary optimism. I think that it gives hope to the community. And, you know, as much as we've invested, all of this is because of the community. The community has rallied around us, has been so warm, welcoming, and inviting. And that is what propels us, the people propels us. So I think that what we're seeing is optimism, hope, we're seeing power, we're seeing leadership. And that is what really transforms and inspires, particularly young people, but everyone alike.
Awesome. So as we wrap up, I know that we got to remind folks about where the bakery and cafe is, the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, and then also remind folks that there are opportunities to volunteer. So remind us of that information of how we can get in touch. One, the address, and then the website.
Okay, the address is 3719 West Florissant Avenue.
Perfect.
North side of St. Louis.
Yes.
Other side of the Del Mar. And you can get in touch with us at www.uhuru, UHURU, pies, PIES.org.
.org. Awesome. So stop by and check out the bakery and cafe, but more so, get to know the Uhuru movement and what it's doing in the West Florissant corridor and beyond.
Indeed.
Bakari, Jainabah, I want to thank you all for being with us today. You all have given us a wealth of information. We will be right back in just a moment with more City Corner. Stay tuned.
Did you know that you can watch STL TV on your smart TV? That's right. With the new STL TV Now app, you can watch STL TV at home without a cable subscription. And that includes our live broadcast channel as well as video on demand content. We have apps for Apple TV, Fire TV, and Roku. You probably have at least one of those at home, right? But this one is a Fire TV. Now listen, it is really easy to get started. Just find the App Store on your TV, then search for STL TV Now. Select it and click to install. And in just a few seconds, you are enjoying STL TV's great programming such as City Corner, Inside Sports, City Government, and public interest coverage. Or, my personal favorite, In the Kitchen.
And welcome back to City Corner today. You know, as you think about our community, you might not be aware that there is an oasis right in our backyard. That oasis is bringing more communities closer to wellness and access to equitable food sources and resources. Today, I am joined by two amazing members of that community, and that is Rustic Roots Sanctuary. I'm joined by Janett Lewis and Nikila Williams. Ladies, it's so good to see you.
Hi, good
Yes,
to see you.
and we're like old friends, so
Yes.
we don't have to be just getting to know each other. We're like old friends. First, I want to start by talking to you all, one, about Rustic Roots Sanctuary and the birth of this idea. I know that it came from the necessity of having more access to food.
Yes.
Janett, could you talk a little bit about like what happened? What sparked this in your mind to eventually get to this point?
Yeah, it was very interesting. I moved to Spanish Lake basically to invest in real estate because you could purchase cheap property. So I went from San Diego, California to Spanish Lake.
Wow.
And while I was there, I saw one of the grocery stores shutter and leave the neighborhood. It basically fell into food insecurity. And we had one grocery store left to serve over 18,000 residents.
Wow.
So as I saw these children coming out of the stores with ices and hot fries, it just enraged me that there was no access to good, clean food. So I basically went to the community of Spanish Lake and asked them if they would help me start a garden. And we called Seed St. Louis to install a community garden with us. And Grow Spanish Lake was born. So that was the start. It was just a 1/4 acre community garden with the neighbors.
Wow. So from that, just your inner awareness of, people deserve more than
Yes.
just having to grab convenient foods.
Absolutely.
Moving towards creating the garden, the smaller garden, to now, I've lost count. When I was there visiting, I lost count of the acreage because it seems so vast.
Yes.
Nikila, tell us more about just the space, like the size, the capacity. I don't think people realize how big this place is.
So, as she initially said, we started with a 1/4 acre,
Yes.
and we've expanded since about 2018, 2019 to over 16 acres now.
16?
Yes.
Okay.
16 acres.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a chance for the first time to just come out and visit. I'm thinking I'm just showing up, gonna grab a couple of little things. And I told you all today that I didn't want to leave. Is that the feeling that you get and that others get when they come to visit? And why do you think that is?
Yeah.
I think it's because we've been very intentional about creating a sacred, safe space for our community. Our community comes in and they're safe, they're seen, and they have exposure to the land and all this healing medicine. So I believe that the reason we call it a sanctuary is because it really is. Like it's a nature sanctuary. And when you come in, you can't help but take that nice deep breath. You'll smell lemon balm, rosemary, lavender, thyme, because we're growing all these things on the land specifically for the purpose of having that reciprocal relationship between people and the plants.
That's awesome. I think one of the things that I observed, and this was during the farmers market on Saturdays, is just the access that people have. I mean, access in the way of the variety, but also the affordability. And that's a thing that I think right now, especially in this time, folks are really feeling the pinch. And it probably is prompting them to make different choices in the foods that they eat. Can you talk a little bit more about why it is so important to make it accessible from both the affordability aspect as well as the variety aspect?
So sadly, in a lot of food insecure areas, a nice amount of people are eating for convenience, and by convenience, they're eating what they can afford for their families.
Right.
They're eating what they have access to, what they can actually make it to. So it was really important for us to kind of make sure that everything was accessible, not just the food, but also the healing component of our space.
Yes.
The food, we have to make sure it's affordable. We do only have a Schnucks, which, as I'm sure you all know, Schnucks are on the higher end of grocery store priced items. So everything that we sell is typically going to be about 20% less than anything the grocery stores are going to carry. And it's also coming straight from the land, so there are no middlemen. You also get to come out to the market to actually meet the hands and the people who grow your food. And I know a lot of people are really big on energy, especially when they're on their holistic journey and going into actually eating things that are good for them. So they also want to consume things that are made by and grown by people who are, good to the community as well. So that's definitely been one of the things.
I know that here at City Corner, we talk a lot about North St. Louis and the city and what's going on, but I don't think people realize that the corridors that connect us all oftentimes merge kind of that city-county boundary, right? And a lot of the foods that you all harvest don't just land in North County. They likely spread out through partnerships that you all have with various organizations. Can you talk, I think one of them that I saw was about Archwell and some of the work that you all had done with Archwell and senior centers. But can you talk about why partnership is so important to also expanding that accessibility?
Yeah, I think that, so with Archwell, they had come out because they were doing a senior resource fair.
Wow.
So they actually wanted to purchase food from us to support the farm and also give the great healthy food to the seniors. And so that was a very nice collaboration. We have donated food to different organizations that can spread it far and wide. But one of the things that we're really focused on is like a local food hub, because we think that local food systems are kind of a way to cure food insecurity. Like if every neighborhood had an Uhuru or a Rustic Roots Sanctuary, different farm that was taking care of the land and also the community, it would just be a wonderful world that we live in. So that's one of the reasons we stay kind of in North County, mostly because that's our neighbors. And it feels a certain way to like skip over your neighborhood who needs the food to go somewhere else, you know, because you're getting paid for it or whatever. So,
yeah. When I visited, I remember saying to myself, I've got family members all over St. Louis. And so when I buy things, I think of family, like who could use this, right?
Yes.
I'm buying a bag of food. It might be purchased by me, but that food is going to circulate throughout my network based on the need, right? And I love that you all start, charity begins at home, and home is in your backyard. And I appreciate the intentionality that you all bring to that. So I have to give a shout out to Nikila, who's here right now with me, because she put so much attention, she and Janett put so much attention into building the set. But these are the items, just a few of the many items that you all grow at the sanctuary. What's the thought that goes into not only growing the food, but preparing the food? Because I think y'all have a chef, if I'm not mistaken.
oh, you didn't get a fried green tomato?
I didn't get no. Please don't taunt me with a fried green tomato. I might have to come back.
You have to come back. You have to come back.
But tell me about like what goes into determining what you plant and then how you prepare the food through the presence of a chef and a culinary station where you all can build out those recipes.
Yes. Well, so a food hub basically has a few different elements. It has the growing aspect, the kitchen where you can create a value added item or something that people can eat. And then it also has like the distribution. So that's basically all of the things that you'll see at Rustic Roots Sanctuary. We have the distribution through the farmers market and our online store. We have the kitchen where our chef turns them into culinary delights so people understand that this food tastes a certain way when it comes out of the ground into the kitchen and then to your mouth. And so he also shares recipes to make things simple and people can enjoy this good food, which is also medicine. I forgot the point of your question.
It's all good. No, you answered all of my question. Actually,
I get so excited thinking about the food, and I might be a little hungry too. So now I got me thinking about the chef.
Yes, I was thinking about Saturday as I was visiting. I saw that the chef was on site on a Saturday, and he was preparing things that you all had just harvested. I think making squash noodles and things of that nature. So it was amazing to witness that in action. And I think it just speaks to what you talked about with the food hub, which is exactly aligned with your mission, right?
Yes, exactly. And we did like a microcosm of it first on the farm, and now we're scaling. So it's super exciting. We're working on 2 major infrastructure projects that are going to bring so much more food into the community. So we're very excited about that.
I love it. So I know I could talk to you all for an hour, and we are wrapping up towards the end of the show, but I want to make sure that folks know that there are volunteer opportunities, there are giving opportunities. You all don't just provide the sanctuary in the sense of coming to the Saturday market, the farmers market. You all do tours, things that obviously need to be scheduled, but you have an expansive array of experiences to offer the community.
Absolutely. So community members can actually come out to the farm and get involved in many capacities. We have volunteering. They could come and work with our chef in our kitchen. They can come out and volunteer with, in my opinion, is one of the best field teams in Missouri. They can come out and do some field work if they're interested in farming or land education or anything of that nature. They can also come and do events-based volunteering. So anything. We also do retreats, and we do sound bowl healing. We do, we actually have a flower class coming up in collaboration with another Black-owned farm called Odds and Ends. That's going to be at the end of this month. So there's many opportunities for them to come out and get involved. From a donation aspect, we do accept in-kind donations. We are a nonprofit. So if you come to the market and you buy something at the market and you want to donate $1 or donate your change, it's going straight to what we do and what we provide to the community.
Awesome. Well, I know that we are just about out of time. Remind us, how do we get in touch? Website, tell us about the market on the weekends.
Yes.
And then if folks want to do tours and schedule those types of things, how would they go about doing that?
Okay, so all of the information for any of those things can be found on our website, rusticrootssanctuary.org.
Perfect.
There's a volunteer form where you can fill that out. There's a form where if you want to rent the space and have a baby shower or your next reunion, you can come. Everything like our family camp out that's happening September the 5th is also on the website where you can get tickets.
Okay.
The two pieces of infrastructure I talked about earlier are super exciting. One is going to be called the North County Harvest Hub, and it's a shared use facility for multiple farmers. And the other is the Fresh Pick Farm Store. We're actively looking for partners to help us bring this dream to fruition. So if you know any senior account executives at Wells Fargo or Commerce Bank, I mean, we would be delighted to meet with them and show them what we've got and what we've been able to do and what we're planning to do.
Awesome.
And yes, you can reach out to us through the website. You can follow us on socials. You can come to our market every Saturday from 9 to 1. And we just love to see you, meet you, have you smell our fresh herbs and flowers. And
Nikila, Janett, it has been such a pleasure having you all on the show. Also, thank you for your intentionality in sharing what that visual experience actually feels like. And I think our audience at home got to experience that. Well, I want to thank you for watching City Corner today. I want to thank our guest, Uhuru Movement from the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, as well as Rustic Roots Sanctuary. You know, our community is far closer than you might assume, and we hope that you feel inspired to make the connection by utilizing the information shared here today, as well as checking out these amazing organizations. Until next time, this is City Corner, and I'm Sonji Young. Take care.